Donald Trump's losing streak related to E Jean Carroll, the person he victimized and was adjudged to have sexually abused by a New York jury, continues. Last week, one panel of the Second Circuit ruled that he was not going to get a rehearing on whether he owed her the original $5.5 million awarded by a jury for the sex abuse and defamation that happened before he was the president of the United States the first time. But now a new three-judge panel has just ruled against Donald Trump on the second E Jean Carroll case, the one for $83.5 million. That's now running with interest approaching $100 million. That larger judgment resulting from a second trial. The second trial was about the defamation comments that Donald Trump made while he was president. And the Department of Justice, on behalf of the United States of America, Donald Trump's United States of America, filed a motion with the Second Circuit Court of Appeal in New York, arguing that Donald Trump was within the course and scope of his presidential powers when he defamed her, and therefore he's covered by what's referred to as the Westfall Act. He was within the scope of his duties. Therefore, the United States of America is going to intervene and come to his rescue, take out his private lawyers, substitute in the United States of America as the defendant, and then argue that there's sovereign immunity, that you can't sue the government for the $83.5 million. Not so fast, says the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. They denied the motion for the Westfall Act conversion process and said they will be issuing an order at a later time. I'm Michael Popok. I'm doing my analysis right now on MeidasTouch and on Legal AF. Let's get into it. How did we get here? Well, over a year ago, there was, and before, while the campaign was going on for president, Donald Trump was in a second trial related to E Jean Carroll. The first trial earlier in the year, now going back almost 2 years, was where she, a former gossip columnist and editor for Elle magazine, sued successfully in a civil case before 9 jurors in federal court presided over by Judge Kaplan, in which she proved with her witnesses, her own testimony, and other documentary evidence that he, Donald Trump, sexually abused her in a dressing room of a department store on Fifth Avenue right near Trump Tower, that they bumped into each other, started out as playful banter, and ended up with him sexually abusing her in the stall of a dressing room, and then defamed her by claiming that she was crazy, nuts, not his type, never would do it, doesn't know who she is, until photographic evidence was produced, witness testimony was produced, all against him. He lost the first trial. He never testified. Joe Tacopina and Alina Habba handled that case for Donald Trump, and the jury sided with E Jean Carroll and awarded her $5.5 million. Several months later, the second case, because Donald Trump couldn't help himself, kept defaming her even after he defamed her the first time. Now, as president, that case went forward a little bit later. Why? Because Donald Trump had argued up through appeal that he was entitled to have the government intervene in the case because he was acting within the scope and course of his duties as president when he defamed her. Well, Joe Tacopina, his own lawyer, at one point when he wasn't his lawyer, said there's no such thing as a defamer in chief. You can't defame somebody and claim that you didn't sexually abuse somebody. That's not part of the presidency. So that went up through a couple of levels of appeal, and Donald Trump lost. And then, of course, the Biden Department of Justice never intervened on his behalf because that happened on their watch. They said, no, the appellate courts have spoken. There is no scope of the presidency that includes defamation. And no. Now, the reason they're trying to have the Westfall Act apply, little teachable moment here, is if they get the intervention, if they get to substitute Donald Trump as the defendant, then they'll argue that there is complete immunity from the judgment. See where that's going? So they lose at the trial court level, second time. Now the jury hates Donald Trump. He testifies in that case. New lawyers come in, same result, except now it's $83.5 million. He had to post a bond. Very infamously, he couldn't scrape up the money. He went and found a bonding company, a surety company. They posted the money. It's sitting running with interest with the court. It's probably up to close to $100 million. We just had E Jean Carroll and her lawyer, Robbie Kaplan, interviewed by Ben Meiselas on the MeidasTouch network. We'll, of course, put it up on Legal AF as well. giving all the kind of the inside stories and what she plans on doing with the money once she gets it, and she's going to get the money.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the MeidasTouch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popok's new law firm. It's called the Popok Firm. Michael Popok's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm, really based on the popular demand by all the Meidas, Mighty, and legal AFers who were approaching Michael Popok with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popok was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popok Firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popok's firm is free. Give him a call, see if you have a case. It's thepopokfirm.com, thepopokfirm.com, or you can call 877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popok a call. And I'm really proud of you, Popok. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in.
But Donald Trump last week tried to get the Second Circuit Court of Appeals to give him a new hearing, kind of a new appeal, a rehearing of his appeal with the full en banc, all the members of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, all 12 or 14 of them. And he lost. 10 judges voted. He needed to get 6 in his favor, and it was 8 opposed. He loses 8-2. That's last week's news. This week's news, a new 3-judge panel led by senior status judge Denny Chin. I appeared in front of his first case 35 years ago. Judge Khan and Judge Miriam got together and said, no, we are not going to grant your attempt to use the Westfall Act. We're not ready to write a full opinion yet, they said, but we're letting you know now, no. So what does that mean? And just to give the scorecard that we like to give, Denny Chin, an Obama appointee, he's 71 in senior status. Judge Khan, recently appointed in the last couple of years by Joe Biden, same with Judge Miriam. That means that they're going to have to try a emergency application to the United States Supreme Court. There's going to be 2 applications to the Supreme Court about E Jean Carroll. The question we have here on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch Network is, does the Supreme Court, even the MAGA right wing, want to bail Donald Trump out from a civil case, not criminal, that doesn't implicate presidential powers, about an act that he was adjudged by 2 juries, or at least 1 jury, to have committed sexual assault before he was president? And the only thing that touches on presidential power is whether, while he was defaming her and defending himself in the Rose Garden and other places, whether he was within the course and scope of his presidential duties. Even though they were very concerned at one point about the criminal exposure of a president and whether he has immunity, I just don't see the same compelling interest for even this right-wing Supreme Court to rule in his favor on this. But we'll have to see what's going to happen. First step, we got the right decision from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, a new panel that I'm reporting on right now. No, Westfall Act doesn't apply, they say. No, the Department of Justice of the United States of America doesn't get to intervene in the case and take out Donald Trump to try to deny E Jean Carroll her $83.5 million judgment running with interest. So she is one step closer to getting all her money. It's going to be approaching close to $100 million less attorney's fees in the particular case. We'll follow it all. You're here on the MeidasTouch Network. 5 million, everybody, 5 million subscribers. And we're continuing to build our companion channel, Legal AF YouTube. Come on over there. Be in the first million. We're going to be 700,000, I think, subscribers before the weekend is over with your help. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.